This podcast episode is sponsored by the Sharps app. Sharps is basically the social media of sports betting. You can link your sportsbook, share your bets, and on the social media feed, you can even tail the bets you like by clicking on the tail icon. Each week, we'll be releasing our own Sharps free bet. We're 1-0 so far, so let me show you guys how to access those free picks. All you guys have to do is click on the link in the description of this video and just click on Sharps free bet. Then sign up using our code HOOK294. Once you sign up, just link your preferred sportsbook, and once you're in the app, just search for our username at HookshotPod. When that's done, you should be able to access all of our free picks, and we can make some money together. Now let's get to the full podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 16. How do you do it with the hands?
Oh 16. Yeah, I always try to do it with the.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to try it this time.
Yeah, let's not.
I'm not even going to try.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 16 of the Hookshot Podcast. My name is Lucas Cohen. This is Rohan Borges. How you doing, man?
I'm great, man. I'm so excited. You know how I get for Izzy Fight Weeks. My favorite fighter. He's back in action. This should be a cakewalk, but and the card's not even that entertaining. Let's be all honest. The main card is what it is. It's the Izzy card, so everything. All the attention will be on Izzy, but man, I'm just so excited for this card, for this performance, because I think the lead up to the fight, like this entire week, the shenanigans that are going to be going on back and forth between those two, in all the press conferences and everything like that, I think it's going to be so fun. So yeah, I'm excited, man. How about you?
I'm super excited. And as you said, it's not the best pay-per-view, obviously. I mean, the co-main event, it's a Tai Tuivasa fight, which should still be fun, don't get me wrong. But besides that main event, there's nothing really high level about the card. I mean, we were supposed to see Manel Kape versus Kai France. That got canceled. And comes in a guy who's making his debut. So interested to see how that goes. However, we're not here to just break down UFC 293, which I didn't even mention at the top. Sorry about that, which don't get me wrong. I'm stoked for it. The press conference, it's going to be great. The fight, it's probably going to be lopsided, which we'll get into in a second. But we also got to break down UFC Paris, which was this past Saturday. And man, that was a fun card. It was super fun from top to bottom. Just excitement all around. And we could just start with the main event. Ciryl Gane versus Sergey Spivak. Probably one of the least exciting fights on the card just because it was utter domination.
It was, I mean, exactly as I predicted it, as we predicted, I'd say. We both called it, man. This guy, obviously John Jones is going to give him problems on the ground, but my whole thing leading up to this fight was that Sergey Spivak is not John Jones. He's not able to implement that wrestle heavy style as effectively as somebody like John Jones, who's a world-class All-American wrestler, and given that Ciryl got absolutely destroyed and he knew, after that fight, he was so down. Everybody was like, did he even want to be there that night? All the focus in this training camp was gonna be on the takedown defense. That was the only thing this guy had to worry about, because at range, as I said, he would have picked, he did. He picked him apart. There was nothing Spivak could do to him on the feet. He had like short little outbursts where he tried to pressure in and run in real quick and land some big shots, but Ciryl, was keen to those shots, and he just looked so good, man. I'm so happy for him. He got back in the win column. Obviously Tom Aspinall called him out after the fight, a fight that I would love to see. But that heavyweight division, man, it's getting interesting. It's getting very interesting.
Yeah. I'm just curious who's going to be next for the belt. Obviously, John Jones versus Stipe Miocic is happening in November, I believe. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about this yesterday. I think both fighters will retire, win or lose. I think both fighters probably retire. So who's next? I mean, is Ciryl Gane next? I don't feel like I don't think he's earned that title shot, a shot for that vacant belt. I feel like it has to be Aspinall versus Pavlovich. Gane just fought for the belt, got utterly dominated, obviously by the best fighter of all time, but still, it's a title shot. He lost in brutal fashion. But yeah, I think that's the fight to make for the vacant title once that Jones fight happens, Pavlovich versus Aspinall. And then maybe Gane is the next contender, or they give Gane the winner of Almeida versus Blades, which is happening in November as well, which should be really, really fun. Jailton Almeida, prospect on the rise. People have been super high on, calling him the Brazilian Khabib or whatever. I mean, that guy is an absolute stud. Yeah. But yeah, back to the fight. I mean, Ciryl Gane, just utterly dominant. Beat the can't grapple accusations. Just great job.
Yeah, great job. He didn't have to deal with a lot. It was really one real shot that Sergey actually got in. And Ciryl stuffed that shit, man. Sprawled it beautifully, got to the back even, landed some big shots, got back up to the feet, and continued to do his thing on the feet, man. I'm so impressed with him though. But as we look for, what's next for Ciryl Gane, and we look at the top of the heavyweight division, you mentioned Curtis Blades and Jailton. It's just like, does Ciryl rush into that fight, or does he wait and see what happens and how this all plays out and try to, get a better luck of the draw? Because I don't think he has an easy time with either of those guys. I think Jailton gives him a really tough time. And same thing with Curtis Blades. We've already seen I don't want to say he ducked Curtis Blades, but he definitely hinted that he did not want that fight, you know? So I don't know, man. Cyril's in a weird spot here, but I think, you know, he could chill if he wanted to, you know, because that Sergey Aspinall fight, if that does happen later down the line, I think he'd much rather fight the winner of that one than the winner of this one coming up. So
yeah, agreed, 100%. Let's move on to the co-main event of UFC Paris. Rose Namajunas lost to Manon Fiorot by decision. And I remember watching it live. You thought that Rose took it. Rose took rounds 1 and 3. I agree. I thought Rose won round 3, but I'm the judge that gave Manon round 3. Like, I just don't see it. How? Rose was just landing the cleaner shots. She was consistent, but hey, you can't complain. I did think Manon won rounds 1 and 2 barely. So yeah, I think the rightful winner got their hand raised. Mm-hmm. It was a great performance by Fiorot. She showed that, you know, she's bigger, not just bigger. Obviously, there wasn't too much of a size advantage as people were talking about heading into the fight, but the power, the strength.
That was what it was.
You could see Rose continuously trying to take her down, never got her down, maybe for like a split second, but Manon popped right back up.
Yeah.
She just proved levels at the flyweight division and the power. I mean, it was a great performance from Fiorot. Do you stand by Rose winning that fight?
Yeah, man, I'm going to have to watch the fight again because watching it live, I definitely agree with you. Round 3 was a clear victory for Rose. Manon was dealing with a huge gash in the side of her head that was caused by a clash of heads. So that was obviously obstructing her ability to strike clearly. But then I think Rose just outlanded her completely in the 3rd round. It wasn't really that close. But then the first 2 were so close. And obviously I'm a big Rose fan, so I'm looking at it, you know, I don't want to say through rose colored glasses. But nah, I was kind of, you know, rooting for Rose a little bit. So I guess the bias does play a factor there. But, you know, on rewatch, I guess, you know, I could definitely see Manon winning those first 2 rounds. And to your point, she was landing the bigger shots. She was the bigger fighter. You know, even Rose filled out pretty nicely in that division, you know. It wasn't that big of a size advantage, but the power shots were definitely landing in Manon's favor. So I think those first 2 rounds were close, but I could see them being Manon. So I'm just going to have to rewatch it. I don't know if I can stand by that pick. I'm just going to have to rewatch.
And so now at flyweight, you have 2 fighters who are contenders for the belt, right? You got Aaron Blanchfield, who won the week before, and Manon Fiorot, both with not... They didn't, their wins weren't too convincing. Like, nobody really stood out. Oh, I should get this title shot. So I just think they got to make that fight as a title eliminator ASAP. Blanchfield versus Fiorot. The winner of that gets a title shot, and then maybe the loser fights Santos. I mean, I feel like Santos is still up there. But there, as I said, there's just no clear number 1 contender here. They both deserve it. Don't get me wrong. But I think you just put them against each other, and the winner fights for the belt, right?
Agreed. I think you wait to see how Grasso and Shevchenko turns out, and then you put these 2 ladies against each other, and then, you know, go from there. But I agree. I think those 2, they're both on a hot streaks. They're both looking great right now, so I think that makes a lot of sense.
It only makes sense, 100%. And then we could just skim over a couple other fights in that card. Benoit Saint Denis, man, proven to be the next French star. I don't know if you agree with that. You said you weren't too impressed. I think this guy's a stud, man. I think this guy is on the rise, and I think he can be a future, possibly even, definitely a top 10 guy, possibly even top 5. I mean, the grit this guy shows, he's literally the god of war. I mean, he will not be fazed by a clean shot. He's got fantastic grappling. He out-grappled Thiago Moises, which is a big feather in his cap. Just an all around fantastic performance. Finished Thiago Moises, who's only been finished twice, I believe. Once by standing TKO way back in his career, and then submitted by Islam Makhachev. And Benoit Saint Denis put the fucking beats on him. Man, I don't know. You said you weren't too impressed with Saint Denis.
No, not too impressed. I mean, you were trying to say that you saw him as a future champ, which I'm like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. But that being said, I mean, you can't argue with that performance. He absolutely destroyed Thiago Moises. And that's a guy, you know, you mentioned it. He's never been finished that brutally, other than Islam. Obviously, he had his way with him. But man, I mean, that entire fight was Benoit the entire time doing whatever he wanted, you know, and obviously the cardio, just given his output, it's going to be something to keep an eye on. And he does leave his chin up in the air when he's entering the pocket with those big exchanges where he's swinging so wild. He does tend to leave his chin up in the air, which, you know, he could get caught. And Moises was landing a few clean shots, but, you know, just can't argue with the final result, man. That's all I'll say. You can't argue with the final result. He's 12-1. He's still cruising, man, and he's young. So I agree. I think he's a top 10 guy for sure. In the future. And I'd like to see him, you know, fight up in the rankings, you know, considerably, you know.
Yeah, I think he said something about Justin Gaethje in his call out, right? But the translator, fuck that translator. We need the GOAT translator back.
They did not do that justice because he was calling out Gaethje. He said BMF, I heard in there, and they were like, yeah, we'll fight whoever next as long as it's higher up in the rankings. That is not what he said. So I think, Gaethje is a long shot. That's not happening. But, you know, somebody in that top 10, we could take a look at the lightweight division. I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, he definitely deserves a ranked opponent next.
Yeah,
I don't know
no
if it's top 10, but definitely top 15. I mean, you look at who's not booked in the lightweight division. I mean, Diego Ferreira, that's an older guy. I don't even know if he's going to fight again. Matt Frivola, I know he's looking up, not down. Yeah. Renato Moicano, does he already have a fight booked? I'm not sure.
Moicano. No, damn. It's been a while since he's fought, no?
Grant Dawson's ranked number 10. Wow, look at that. A bunch of new faces in this lightweight division. But I don't know. Yeah, all I know is that he deserves a top 15 guy.
Does Sarukian have a fight right now?
Does Sarukian have a fight? I don't think so. No.
No, but I feel like that's maybe a bit too big of a leap. Although I do think Benoit would hang with him, and that would be 100%. A very entertaining fight.
I think Benoit could beat.
But going from unranked to 8 is maybe a bit too big of a jump there.
Yeah, possibly.
Rafael dos Anjos is always going to be that fucking gatekeeper that the UFC looks to put these guys against, and then see.
Well, I think he's fighting at welterweight now.
Yeah. So okay. So he's still in the rankings, but not. Yeah, but he's going to take a leap soon for sure.
Yeah.
100%. That was very, very impressive, that performance.
And I think that'll do it for us in UFC Paris. Are there any other big fights that we really missed out on? I mean we missed out on Ozdemir.
Oh, man, no time. That was so impressive.
Scrub. I mean, was it though? I mean, the guy fucking sucked.
Bogdan Guskov.
Yeah, my God. What a can. But yeah, that's really all we got. I mean,
Jocelyn Edwards got robbed, guys. Just, you guys all know.
We won't get into it, but Edwards got fucking robbed. But yeah, that's all we got for UFC Paris. UFC 293, the pay-per-view, what we're really here to talk about. It's coming this Saturday, and it's gonna be so much fucking fun. Israel Adesanya, well, the main event at least. Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. And it's gonna be so much fucking fun. The fight itself, maybe not. The lead up, But I really do, when we were talking about this yesterday again, I think this is Israel Adesanya's easiest fight stylistic-wise since Anderson Silva, or like maybe even a Brad Tavares.
Nah, but dude, he's gonna do Strickland like how he did Paulo Costa. That's my prediction.
Dominate.
He's gonna dominate. Paulo Costa had nothing to offer.
But the wine.
Oh, the wine. The wine was an issue. But nah, bro, Costa looked lost in that octagon, and I feel like Sean Strickland's gonna look the exact same way because Izzy. He could point fight. He could do what he normally does when he fights guys that he's so much better than. Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori, the list goes on, where we've seen him kind of, just take a break and just, cruise his way to an easy decision. But I think, dude, the lead up to this fight is going to be so toxic that he's going to have a chip on his shoulder going into that octagon on Saturday night. And I just think he's going to look to put it on this man. He'll use the first round as he always does to make his reads and gather information, gather data. But once he gets that down, man, that second round, I'm telling you, watch out. Watch out when it hits round 2. I see a finish.
So that's your final prediction for this fight?
Guys, he's finished Costa in round 2. He's finished Whitaker in round 2. He's finished Pereira in round 2. He loves round 2. And Strickland's a can, bro. Strickland's a can.
And he's not a can.
He's a can compared to Izzy. And this is going to be a strictly standing fight. This is not going to be on the ground whatsoever, bro. Sean Strickland would never look to take this fight to the ground. He thinks he can strike with him. And honestly, I don't think he thinks he's going to win this fight. I think he's just fighting strictly for the money. This is a payday for Sean Strickland. He's there. He's going to show up, and that's it. That is what it is. But man, Izzy's gonna make light work of this man. That's my prediction. Round 2, finish Izzy.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's outright domination. I think Izzy wins all 5 rounds. Maybe Strickland steals a round with grappling. You never know, grappling and wrestling. But my prediction is going to be the most dominant Izzy decision you've ever seen. I think Strickland is tough as fucking nails. I don't think he gets the finish. However, I see where you're coming from, and I could definitely see it happening, him having a chip on the shoulder and whatnot. But all we really have to, all we have to say about this is it's gonna be outright domination from Izzy. And I've said it so many times. What's the path to victory for Sean Strickland? What?
There's no path to victory there because Sean Strickland's so one-dimensional, and everything that he throws comes from straight. He throws straight punches. He barely throws kicks in the first place. No round techniques, no round kicks, no hooks, nothing of that. Everything he throws is straight. And Izzy's just going to be, that's too easy for somebody like Izzy who can just, man, it's going to be a wash, dude. I can see a dominant decision, but I just don't. If it is a dominant decision, if Izzy goes all 5 rounds and starts, landing clean shots as the fight goes on, I don't think, when's the last time we've seen Sean Strickland eat clean shots over the full length of a 5-round fight? Because when he aged clean shots against Alex, and Izzy hits hard as fuck. He put Whitaker's lights out. He put Alex's lights out. He put Costa's lights out. This is a guy that can, and he's got a lot of shit in the past, for being a boring fighter, quote unquote. But man, when he has a significant striking advantage, as he did against Costa and as he does against Strickland, man, And he's going to find those openings. He's going to land hard shots, dude. I think Strickland goes out here. I really do. And maybe not clean out, but I think we could see a TKO victory, something like that. But yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah, I could definitely see a TKO. I think it's really tough. I think he probably gets a TKO, but it's crazy that this is the debate of the fight.
Yeah,
like
bro.
If he gets a finish or if it's a dominant decision, like it just shows the levels, and that's what you're gonna see, folks, on Saturday. You're gonna see absolute levels. Israel Adesanya, man, I just think he dominates. As I said in the beginning, maybe Sean Strickland steals a round. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday as well.
Bro.
Israel Adesanya was talking about maybe getting like a submission against Sean Styckland. I could see him going for like a stupid submission and maybe Strickland steals a round on top. But besides that, man, it's literally going to be zeros for the just stylistically.
Yeah.
A guy in Strickland who loves to point fight, charge forward, jab, and throw straights, like that's not gonna work against Israel Adesanya. Maybe against Abu, but not against.
He's coming in, bro. Israel. He's getting a title shot. First of all, he's 2-2 in his last 4, and his wins are against Nasruddin Imavov and Abu Nurmagomedov, bro. Like this is not a real title contender here, bro. This is not gonna be a close fight whatsoever,
Agreed.
dude. It's gonna be a complete and utter domination. Israel Adesanya by whatever the fuck he wants. That's my prediction.
Let's move on to the co-main event. Tai Tuivasa taking on Alexander Volkov. And as I mentioned, we don't really have any high-level fights outside of this main event. However, this is going to be a heavyweight slugfest. It's going to be fun. And man, I'm going with the underdog here. Tai Tuivasa plus 200. It doesn't make sense to me. This is a guy who has 15 minutes to put Volkov's lights out. If you look at Tuivasa's last 2 fights, he got finished by Cyril Gane, and he got finished by Sergey Pavlovich. I feel like Cyril Gane's like a more elevated version of Alexander Volkov.
Yeah.
He throws the deep kicks, he keeps his distance, but he's just better, and he's stronger. And Tai Tuivasa ate those body shots from Cyril Gane. Man, this guy has 15 minutes, as I just said, to get on the inside and land that finishing blow. I think he does it. Tai Tuivasa, my prediction is going to be him by knockout, and, this isn't a Gane. This isn't a Pavlovich. This is Alexander Volkov. This is a guy that's been knocked out by Derek Lewis. This is a guy who doesn't have the best chin, and he has 15 minutes to put his lights out, and I think Tai Tuivasa does it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Volkov has a terrible chin, right? He's not been finished, frequently. He got knocked out by Lewis. He lost by decision to Blades, decision to Gane, submitted by Aspinall. He doesn't get knocked out very often, but when it's against a guy like Tai Tuivasa, who's, basically Derek Lewis 2.0, and it's just, to your point, 15 minutes, all he needs is to get on the inside one time, and he dealt with those, with the range of Cyril Gane so well. I was so impressed. He even landed his own shots at range sometimes with those, straight punches. I was impressed by Tai Tuivasa and the way he was able to just maneuver his way into the inside, and I think he'll have success in that department as well against somebody like Alexander Volkov, who he's going to look to land powerful shots as well. He's very willing to engage on the feet. He knocked out, he's looked pretty good in his last few fights also.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not calling Alexander Volkov a bum. He looked great against Rosenstrike.
Yeah, he knocked him out.
Washed Rosenstrike on the feet as well. And then he dominated Romanov. Romanov gasses out so fast. But still, he looked good. He showed off some ground game. He looked good.
Yeah, but Rosenstrike, for example, we use him as an example. He got deterred by those body shots and those long, rangy teeps and stuff like that. He was never able to really get inside and cause any problems for Volkov. And as a result, he was just picked apart against the fence, and he got a finish. Eventually, Volkov did. But Tai Tuivasa is not ever going to stop coming forward at this guy. And I think Volkov's going to be willing to engage, and he's going to eat some shots. And we all know what happens when Tai Tuivasa lands. He knocked out Derek Lewis out cold, bro. He put his lights out, and he almost had Cyril Gane up out of there. That would have been the upset of the century if Tai Tuivasa got Cyril Gane up out of there. But I think he could do it, to your point, a lesser version of Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov. I think, I love this play as an underdog, Tai Tuivasa.
And I'm curious, I know Tai Tuivasa is plus 200 to win the fight, period. But Tai Tuivasa knockout, it can't be anywhere. I mean, it's probably like plus 220. I feel like that's his only path to victory. I'm curious. Let me just look at this real quick. Tai Tuivasa wins by KO. Yeah, plus 260. He's plus 210. And him to win by KO is plus 260. So maybe he just lands the stronger shots and wins a decision. Maybe just play the money line straight. But I do think Tai Tuivasa is a sneaky underdog in this spot, because I think this is a close fight. We may see him get picked apart. Maybe he doesn't land that blow, but I'll keep saying it, man. He's got 15 minutes to land that one shot.
Yeah.
And I think he doesn't, and he's done it before. And I think Alexander Volkov is it's a good matchup.
It is a good matchup for him. It is.
I just think he does it.
There's an easy path.
Feeling.
Not an easy path, but there is definitely a clear path to victory for Alexander Volkov. He keeps the fight at distance. He uses those body kicks. He uses the leg kicks even to slow down Tai Tuivasa's movement and just keeps the fight at bay,
Yeah.
And if he can do that for 3 rounds, he should cruise to a decision. Man, if Tai Tuivasa gets that one shot off, man, it could be lights out. So I think, yeah. Live underdog here, Tai Tuivasa. But it should be a good co-main and main event. But then as we creep down the card, Manel Kape taking on Felipe Dos Santos, the third fight on the main card. I mean, it's a step down in competition for Manel Kape. He was supposed to take on Kai Kara France, which would have been, not that this fight is gonna be a disappointing one at all. I think this will be entertaining, but Manel Kape, he is in a nice spot here. He should easily get the victory.
Agreed. This should be, sorry, go ahead.
No. What are the odds? I was going to ask.
I think he's like minus 350 right now, but this should be Kape all day, every day. And don't get me wrong. I know you don't look into the Contender Series stuff too much, but I'm really big on that. Dos Santos was supposed to fight in the Contender Series 2 weeks ago. His opponent missed weight. That fight got called off, and a day later, I believe Kai Kara pulled out, and in comes Felipe Dos Santos. And I think this guy's an absolute dog. He's training at Chuta Box, for those that don't know, with Charles Oliveira, that entire squad. He's like a mini version of those guys. He's got the power, the striking. He's kind of technical, but he's got ground game as well. This guy's going to be good, and it's not going to be a wash for Kape as they think, as people on Twitter and whatnot, all these hardcore MMA fans think. But this should be, I just don't see how Kape doesn't get his hand raised. Man. He's going to get his hand raised. Whether he finds a finish or wins a decision. I think Kape wins a decision. I think it's fairly close. I think Dos Santos probably steals a round. I don't think Kape is like championship material, but I think he's in a high level flyweight for sure. I do think it's a closer fight than people think, as I just said. But I'm, as I said, again, and it's about storylines with all these fights on these cards. Like Adesanya, man, his utter domination. This Kape fight, I just don't see how he doesn't get his hand raised. This guy's been training for absolute fucking killers. Canceled fights against Kai Kara France, Figueiredo, Alex Perez, Bontar, and Sumu Darji. All these guys are killers.
Yeah.
And now it's Felipe Dos Santos. And I'm not belittling him. I just think Kape gets it done, and he's prepared, and he wants to make a statement. Give me Kape by close yet clear decision. What do you think?
Yeah, man, you broke it down perfectly. I think you just look at who the UFC was lining up for this guy. That just shows you how they view him. He should get this job done. Obviously the ground game will be something to worry about. He's not bad on the ground in his own right, Manel Kape, but I think that Dos Santos will be looking to take it to the ground. So if he's able to keep it on the feet, he should have an easier time. But I think he wins the majority. I think he wins 2 rounds, no problem, and gets the job done.
Yeah, agreed. We could just skim over a couple other fights in this card, as we mentioned. This is probably one of the worst pay-per-views in recent time, but still, it's going to be fun. Justin Tafa taking on Austin Lane. These guys fought back in June.
Yeah.
It ended in an eye poke. A lot of people were high on Tafa then. A lot of people are high on Tafa now to win this fight. Austin Lane, former Jacksonville Jaguar. Yeah. I kind of feel bad for it because that fight was in Jacksonville, their first fight. And he just got eye poked, and I think he had like his entire family there and whatnot. I mean, if he got the job done there, I would have loved to see that. But I feel like people are overrating Justin Tafa so much. They're acting like this guy is an absolute stud, an absolute killer. This is a guy that lost to Jared Vanderaa. This is a guy that lost to Carlos Felipe. And this happened in 2021, not too long ago. His only wins in the UFC come against Parker Porter, Harry Hunsucker, and Juan Adams. Probably the worst competition can get. He's going up against the young heavyweight in Austin Lane. I don't know, he's 35, but I feel like that's on the younger side for heavyweights. We see these heavyweights still fighting at like 40, 41 nowadays.
Yeah.
Austin Lane's the younger dude, man. And I've just got a feeling that Austin Lane gets it done. But I'm probably staying away from this betting wise. But, if that line for Tafa keeps going up and I can get Lane at like a plus 250, I have to take a stab because Justin Tafa, he's got incredible KO power. And I would not be surprised if he puts Lane's lights out. But man, I just think there's definitely a shot for Lane to just pick his shots and get the job done, man. Justin Tafa has lost to bad competition. And I think Austin Lane is probably bad in his own right. But I think he's possibly just good enough to get the job done? I don't know. I'm excited for this matchup. What do you think?
Yeah, the more you're kind of talking me into Austin Lane here. I like the fact that he has a few fights under his belt outside the UFC. You know, he's coming into this, you know, not seasoned by any measure, but he has experience enough. And Justin Tafa, I think obviously the power advantage is going to be on his side. But Lane, if he looked light on his feet. I think, I mean, that fight didn't last a round, or I don't think it got past a round, right? But he looked light on his feet, and he looked, you know, like he knew how to strike, you know, and that's really all you need against these guys like Justin Tafa, who are plotting and so big and just looking for that one shot. If he can keep his range and be on the outside and just pick him apart from a distance, you know, and while, you know, maintaining his stamina, that's the only thing, because he hasn't been in this game for a long time. So he'll need to manage the cardio, and he'll need to not get careless, because if he gets careless, drops his hands on coming on the inside with one of those shots, leaves himself open, he could get caught with something big. But, I think he could get the job done, but I just think that Justin Tafa finds one shot. So that's what I'll say. I'll say Tafa by knockout.
And I feel like everybody agrees with you, like on Twitter, all the hardcore fans, and I could definitely see it happening as well. I just think this is a closer fight than people think, but all around, I'm probably just going to sit back, enjoy, and see who gets knocked the fuck out. It should be fun. A couple other fights we can talk about. Carlos Ulberg, the return of him, taking on Daun Jung. Should be fun. Should be Ulberg. Daun Jung, you know, he's not a bum. I think Ulberg he's like almost minus 300. He is minus 300 on some books. I think he should be more like minus 200. Daun Jung, who's a talented striker with his back against the wall. Yeah. Going up against another striker. As I said, striker versus striker. I just think Ulberg's a little bit better, and I think he has the edge everywhere. I'm going to go Carlos Ulberg in this matchup. What do you think?
Agreed, man. Carlos Ulberg's striking is just on a different level. And obviously that one loss that he has in the UFC did come against Kennedy Nzechukwu, a guy that Daun Jung did beat. But I just think Carlos Ulberg is on a different level, man. And that fight that he did lose against Kennedy, he really only lost that fight because he gassed out. He was landing clean shots, but he threw too many. And then by the middle of the second round, he was completely gassed. And then Kennedy put the pressure on and finished him. I think he's got much better at managing his cardio. He knows how to fight from a distance now. Not rush anything, but still land good, clean shots. And I think he'll get the job done easily in this one. I think the line should be close to minus 300, honestly. I think
fair enough.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, it should be Ulberg. But man, Daun Jung did beat Kennedy Nzechukwu, who beat Carlos Ulberg, but not MMA math. We're not doing it.
Exactly.
And I think that was kind of a fluke.
That's what I'm saying.
He was rusty in his debut, but it should be Ulberg here. Jack Jenkins taking on Chepe Masvidal. You know, I feel strong about this one. I think Jack Jenkins gets this done probably by dominant decision. Don't know if he finishes Masvidal, but he should get this one done. What do you think?
Yeah, bro. I'm just excited for this one because I think, Chepe Masvidal has a way of making fights just dirty and ugly, and he'll try to take you down, and it might not always work, but he'll just keep coming forward, keep that forward pressure on. And I think he's going to make this a really dirty fight. But at the end of the day, the cleaner strikes will be on the side of Jack Jenkins. He'll land enough leg kicks, I think, to slow down Chepe just a little bit, and the cleaner shots up top. I think he gets the job done by decision, but man, Chepe Masvidal is not a pushover. So I could see a war here. I mean, his last fight against Trevor Peeks was one of the most insane fights I've ever
seen. And they didn't even get fight of the night bonus. What the fuck? That was insane. That was ridiculous. Bro. But you know what I think about this, man? Even if it is a war, which, there's a chance that happens. Jack Jenkins has the Aussie judges on his side.
True, bro.
And that's
true.
A lot of people don't believe in, we just saw it with the French fighters. Nora Cornell against Jocelyn Edwards, which we just talked about. She clearly lost that fight, but she got the job done. Now we're in Australia. Probably the same thing's going to happen. If we have a 50-50 fight here between Jack Jenkins and Jose Mariscal, or Chepe Masvidal, whatever the fuck you want to call him. I don't even know what his name is. This should be Jack Jenkins. So yeah, we're both on Jack Jenkins to get this one done. But as you said, Mariscal is no pushover. I just think there's levels, and I think Jenkins gets it done. Last fight we'll talk about, let's talk about Blood Diamond. Blood Diamond, 0-2 in the UFC. Adesanya's best friend taking on a debutant, Charles Radke. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I've done no tape on Radke. Probably going to completely stay away from this fight and just hope Blood Diamond gets a win as a fan. This guy's a very high-level kickboxer. Seems like they're bringing in Radke as a guy for Diamond to get the job done against. He's making his debut. However, Radke is almost minus 300 on some books, so that just proves
crazy, man.
That Blood Diamond probably is the best of fighters. But I don't even know if we could give a prediction for this. Are we just fading Blood Diamond?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, he hasn't looked good in his first 2 fights. He's a good striker, and he has a huge arsenal of kicks, some crazy kick spinning techniques. But he doesn't really know how to use them all that well is my thing. And then he has no wrestling whatsoever. So, I don't know about this Charlie Radke guy. Maybe he looks to take him down, and maybe that's why the odds are the way they are. I don't know. But, hey, hopefully Blood Diamond gets his first UFC
Let's go, victory. Blood. We're with you, man. Anything else you want to talk about on this card?
Nah, man. I mean, I'm just looking at the rest of it. It's not a terrible card, but what would you give it out of 10? What would you say?
For a pay-per-view or just for any UFC card?
For a pay-per-view.
4.
Yeah. It's pretty bad, guys.
For any card, it's probably like a 7 or an 8, just because that main event. But we're still gonna be sitting right here. We're still gonna watch every single fight, and we're still gonna make a fucking bag. Speaking of which, link in our bio.
Yes, sir.
For link in the description of this video for the premium Discord, all of our socials, Sharps free bet, anything, everything Hookshot. Just click that link. This has been episode 16, UFC 293 breakdown. It's been Lucas Rohan. Adios. Peace out.
Peace.